The award-winning storyteller and Oscar-nominated director continues to make Coney Island proud. His impressive resume includes films such as Requiem for a Dream, Noah, The Wrestler, The Whale, and Black Swan. And if killing it in Hollywood is not enough, he is putting his touch on the literary world now with a new book for kids, Monster Club, Monsters Take Manhattan. Back on the Pix 11 Morning News, please welcome screenwriter, producer, director, co-author, he does it all, New York's very own, Darren Aronofsky. Nice to have you back, Darren.
Thank you for having me, guys. It's a thrill to be here on WPIX.
Always a pleasure. Book number 2, Monster Club, Monsters Take Manhattan. It leads us to believe something's going down in Manhattan. What?
Well, the first book left our heroes sort of saving Coney Island. As a kid who grew up in South Brooklyn, the dream was always to get to Manhattan. So I knew the second book had to be about Manhattan, and we came up with a whole new journey for our young kids, Eric and his gang, to have a fun adventure in mostly downtown Manhattan.
Yeah, but people are now wondering, you went from Brooklyn to Manhattan. That leaves 3 other boroughs. I mean, does that mean more books are in the works?
I hope so. If it does well, I hope we go. I don't know if we're going to do Queens and Staten Island next. Our aspirations might be bigger than that.
Yeah. What sparked the whole idea to do this series of books?
Well, I originally wrote a screenplay based on my childhood, added some magic because it was a movie, and decided to create a script. Unfortunately, I couldn't really figure out how to get it made, but a writer, a friend of mine who read the script, loved it and said, why don't you turn it into a young adult novel? And that led me to this.
It's never too late, though, to turn it into a film.
Yeah. That's right. That's true.
Well, you co-authored the book with your writing partner, award-winning
Ari
Handel, and then author Lance Rubin as well. How would you compare the experience of putting the second book together from the first book? Was it easier? Was it possibly even more difficult this time around?
Well, the first book had a screenplay underlying the whole story, so it was a lot easier. We had to make it a lot richer because you can add so much more detail into a book. But the second book, we had to make up from scratch. We had a lot of clues of what happened. We had a bad guy in King Neptune, and we knew the characters were suddenly very famous because their story in the first book was broadcast live on places like WPIX. And so we wanted to see how that impacted our characters. Also, they were headed off to high school, and that meant new challenges like all kids face.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is great. We're watching right now part of the trailer for the book, which I love that you even have a trailer for a book. But what age? I have an 11-year-old and an almost 9-year-old.
Yeah, perfect.
Is this the perfect age group for these books?
Yeah. I think they say something between 8 and 11, but I'd say it could go a little younger and a little older. There's I've had fans who from lots of different ages. Yesterday we did an event at the Strand, and we had mostly adults that were fans. So it definitely plays for lots of different audiences.
Oh, I love that.
Nice, Darren. All right, well, what's your next film project? Anything you can tell us about?
Nothing yet. I'm just sort of getting back to work. I finished that piece off in the Sphere in Las Vegas, and we're starting to dream about what's next.
You know, I was just saying earlier today, we had a piece. Somebody went into the Sphere and was giving us an inside look and talked about your film there. Can you talk to us a little bit about what went into making that? Because those cameras, those specially made cameras, were enormous. What an undertaking.
Yeah. They built cameras, MSG built cameras that could actually have enough resolution for the largest TV screen in the world, which is basically what it is. So they built these cameras called Big Sky. They're incredibly complicated, very, very new technology, but the images are just absolutely stunning. There are moments you're sitting there in the Sphere watching the film, and you really can't tell why it's different from reality. What you're looking at, it's that good.
Wow, you feel like you're in it, right? Yeah. I mean, wow, that's amazing. Well, we can't wait to check that out. How would you compare that to the films that you make? Was it more challenging?
A different type of challenge. When you make a normal movie, you're there's a lot more acting, and there's all different types of technical difficulties. This had its own technical challenges because the technology was brand new. No one had ever done it before. No one had ever even seen what images on a screen that big would do to people.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of like theory and guessing because we had very little time before there was a rush to get the film out when the building opened.
Well, that's wonderful. And we are super excited to read your book. I'm going to bring them to my kids for sure.
Lots of club too. I'll
right,
send
cool.
you some signed copies.
Oh,
Ah,
thank you
nice.
so much. I appreciate that.